Shashwat?
Madam, you'll have to again, set it up. We'll have to change the settings from private to public.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Just give me
madam.
1 minute, sir. I'll do it. Yes.
Oh, ma'am, we are ready.
Shashwat,
Yes, ma'am.
the link is coming as private.
Now it's
Please
public,
make it.
ma'am.
Now it's public?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
No, it still isn't. Shashwat, it still isn't.
शाश्वत मेरा म्यूजिक जरा 2 मिनट बंद करो. रविंदर सर कुछ बोल रहे हैं.
यस मैम.
शाश्वत अभी भी प्राइवेट आ रहा है.
सर मैंने नया लिंक भेजा अभी मैम.
ओके. ऐसे नहीं, ऐसे लगा दो.
Jane sir has said to start the program at 11:15.
Ma'am, the live has started.
Okay,
11:15 को बोले हैं मैम। हेलो रविंद्र सर, 11:15 को स्टार्ट करा है, 11:15 को।
We shall start the program in another 5 minutes. Single, sir?
Yes, shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Good morning and welcome everyone. I request everybody to please rise for the national anthem. Good morning once again. I, Dr. Ritesh Singhal from Department of Business Economics, Sydenham College, welcome you all for the day 2 of 4 days of webinar for students on career planning, financial planning, and soft skill development from 26th May to 29th May 2020, organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell IQAC of Sydenham College of Commerce and Economics as a constituent college of Dr. Homi Bhabha State University, Mumbai, with the guidance of Principal Dr. Sangeeta Pakde Madam and IQAC Coordinator and Head of Commerce Department, Dr. Khushpat Jain Sir. The topic for the second day is soft skills and personality development, which is a very important topic for the final year students of BCom, MCom, BMS, and BBI. The resource person for today's webinar is Mr. Ravinder Singh Chawla. Mr. Ravinder Singh Chawla is a freelancing learner and development facilitator, management consultant, motivational speaker, L&D creator, financial planner, and coach. He is a dynamic, multi-skilled professional with over 26 years of rich and diversified experience, as well as an entrepreneur for the last 9 years independently. He has a rich corporate experience of working in reputed companies like Geep India Limited, Rico India Limited, an HDFC Standard Life Insurance company, where he was working as a vice president, emerging markets. He has conducted programs and workshops on soft skills, leadership development, financial planning, personal and professional skills, taxation, to name a few. He is also visiting faculty in various colleges and institutes of Mumbai, as well as a resource person under Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission for Teachers and Teaching in Sydenham Faculty Development Center. His qualifications are MA Economics and MBA. I welcome you, sir, for this webinar. One instruction for the students, participants. At the end of the session, there will be a few question and answer session. Students should write their question in chat box of YouTube. Students should also fill the feedback form compulsorily after the end of the session, without which certificate will not be issued. I now request our resource person, Shri Ravinder Singh Chawla, sir, to begin with the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the warm welcome. It's indeed a pleasure being here, and I want to thank the committee, the IQAC committee of Sydenham College of Commerce and Economics for organizing this program. It's indeed a privilege for me, and I want to thank everyone, Principal Madam, Mr. Jain, and everyone in the team. So I'll quickly share my presentation, and then we'll start. All right. So the topic of today's session is soft skills and personality development. Now, as has been very clearly pointed out, this is a very important session. This is a very important topic, for the young leaders of our country, because in today's world, as we know, it's very critical that we have a huge set of skills, and we are able to really make an impact to others, because we are in a competitive world. So let's quickly go through, what is it we'll be learning about. But before that, my name is Ravinder Singh Chawla, and I'm the founder and CEO of skillbuilders.in Learning and Consulting Solutions. And we take pride in enabling transformation. So let's quickly go through the objectives of today's session. We'll learn about competencies. We'll also learn about the cash concept. We'll learn about what is the difference between hard skills and soft skills. We'll also talk about personality and personality development. And thereafter, I'll be happy to take any questions that our young leaders may have. All right, let's begin with a story. I'm sure all of you love listening to stories. I love listening to stories, reading stories, and telling stories also. So let's talk about a story in which, the person who is the main person, his name is Rohan. Now, Rohan is a very well-educated person. He's been very good in his studies, all through in his schooling as well as college life. So he's got graduated, and he's very happy and very excited about it. Now he starts looking for a job because he has big goals as far as career is concerned. So he starts appearing for interviews, but unfortunately, interview after interview, he gets rejected. He doesn't, get selected. So he becomes quite frustrated. Now he's actually trying to think as to what could have gone wrong with him. Would anybody want to share as to what could be, you may write on the chat box in case you think about what could be the reason why, is Rohan not getting selected? Why is he facing rejection despite having scored good marks? Well, the fact of the matter is that Rohan is facing rejection because he doesn't have competencies. He does have a college degree. He's scored very good marks as well. But then at the end of the day, in today's world, it is critical that we also possess certain competencies which hone hone us up, and it really gives us an edge uh, in the competitive world. So there is a certain set of skills which people need to have, which unfortunately Rohan has not focused on. So let's talk about these competencies, which is so important in today's world. So what are competencies? So competencies are certain characteristics, strengths, or work-related behaviors that provide a competitive edge to a person, right? And in today's world, competencies are very, very critical. So the more we have in terms of competencies, the lesser it is. Because, at the end of the day, there are millions of people who get graduated, who have degrees, who score very good marks. And as you know, the competition is becoming stiffer. Today, even 99% is something which is not rare. It's quite, there are many students who score 99% mark. So it's very important that when we are focusing on, our careers, we instill competencies within us. So how could competencies be ingrained in ourselves? We could do that by working on our cash, right? Now, what is this cash all about? Now, this is not CASH, which we all are very familiar about, but it is KASH, right? So let's understand what this KASH is all about. So KASH, or cash, or you may call it cash, is all about, it's an acronym which stands for knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits, right? So it's very critical that we focus on this cash, which means knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. So this is the toolbox which we have, and it is this toolbox which will actually shape our careers. So you would have seen technicians who have a toolbox. Even doctor, you would have seen a doctor carrying a briefcase with him, especially in the older movies. You would have seen when the doctor comes home, he carries a briefcase with him. So everybody has a toolbox. So what is a toolbox of a professional? The toolbox of a professional comprises of these four aspects: knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. So let's learn more about it. So what is it in terms of knowledge which is important, right? So let me just try and write it here so for the benefit of everyone. So when we talk about knowledge, what is it that we need to have? So it could be pertaining to domain knowledge, right? Whichever subject, whichever field you want to specialize in, you need to have very good knowledge about that particular area, all about it, right? But not only in terms of that particular domain, but also the allied domains, because that's very important. Let me give an example to you. So let's say if you want to specialize in banking and financial services and insurance industry, then in that case you need to have very good knowledge about the subject. So BFSI as an area. For that part, you also need to have knowledge about the economy, right? Because at the end of the day, there is a lot of correlation which is there in terms of the financial services and the economy. So when we say economy, it means the macroeconomy, the microeconomics, everything, right? Similarly, taxation. We need to have very good knowledge about the taxation as well, because that's very important, right? So whichever subject, whichever area you want to specialize in, it's very critical that we have very good knowledge about it. But then at the end of the day, for us to be able to really make a mark for ourselves, we need to have knowledge about other areas as well. Why? Because, for example, let me give an example to you. Let's say you are specializing in finance, right? So you will have very good knowledge about the finance. You're supposed to have it. But then you also need to have a decent knowledge about sales and marketing as well. Why? Because in today's world, there is a lot of, interplay which is there. There's a lot of interface which would be there with other functions. So it is very critical that we have knowledge about other areas as well, because that is what will give us an edge, right? Similarly, we need to have very good knowledge about the current affairs also, because we will have a lot of group discussions going forward. So we need to have a lot of knowledge about what is happening around us as well. So the more we learn, the lesser it is. And this is absolutely very, very critical. So knowledge is one area which is definitely a bottomless ocean. So the more we take a plunge into it, the lesser it is. Let's now talk about a very, very important area, and that's attitude. Now, let me share an example with you here. Vinod Kambli and Sachin Tendulkar, they were both school friends, right? They were studying together and they started their careers together. Now, who was more talented? It was Vinod Kambli actually who was more talented. The southpaw batsman. Vinod Kambli was more talented. But who flourished more? As we all know, it was Sachin Tendulkar who flourished more. What could have been the reason? In my opinion, Sachin's attitude was much more progressive, was much more, a growth mindset, which probably Vinod Kambli did not have. Now, that's my opinion. And that's the reason why Sachin Tendulkar flourished more. So when we talk about attitude, it is critical that we have a very positive attitude, right? Something may be difficult, but then one should have an approach, one should have an attitude that I can do it. It may be difficult, but nothing can stop me from achieving it. Let me share another story with you. So there was once a company manufacturing shoes. So they sent their salesperson to a country in Africa, African continent, to go and explore the possibilities of, a market of shoes in that particular country. So that salesperson went there, he moved around for a day, and then he sent a telegram to his boss saying that there was no potential in this country because they were all tribals and they didn't wear shoes. Now his boss said, okay, come back. Now the boss sent for another sales professional, a much more, a person with much more positive attitude. So that person went there, he moved around the market for a couple of days, and then he sent a telegram to his boss saying that right now, please dispatch 2 truckloads of shoes. There is immense potential in this particular place because nobody wears shoes, right? And that's what attitude is all about. Attitude means that you need to believe that things are possible. Attitude means that you need to be willing to put in that extra effort, get out of your comfort zones, and make sure that you are able to think differently and innovate. Another example, IPL cricket. IPL cricket, T20 cricket, did it make the job of bowlers easier or difficult? Difficult, right? Because there were so many restrictions which were applicable for the bowlers, but there weren't any restrictions applicable for the batsmen, right? The batsmen had to, the bowlers had to make, they could only bowl 4 overs, in the entire innings. There was a 30-yard circle, and only a certain number of players could stand outside the 30-yard circle, right? If they bowled slightly off the wicket, outside the wicket, it could be called a white ball. It could be, if it were a no ball, it would have been a free hit, right? So many restrictions. Now, did the bowlers say that no, this is cheating, we will not play like this? What did they do? They innovated. They came out with Yorker, they came out with a slow ball. The action is the same, but the ball comes out at a much, smaller pace, much lesser pace, right? Much slower pace. So they innovated. Again, they came out with Dusra and they innovated in different ways, right? The teams, the fielding teams, they innovated and they sharpened their fielding skills, right? Diving became very common Now, T20 also brought in a new phenomenon wherein, a fielder who was standing at the boundary line, if, there was an overhead catch, we also saw new innovations wherein the fielder would go outside the boundary, right? Catch the ball and then throw it back again. This could be caught by some other fielder, or again the same fielder would run in and catch it again. So these are all innovations that we saw, right? That can be possible only when we have a very positive attitude, right? uh, all the inventors, they were able to invent things only because their attitude was absolutely positive, right? So that's what has to be there. And you would have heard of the saying also. There's a famous quotation that it's not as much your aptitude as much your attitude which determines your altitude. Right? That's very, very important. And that is exactly what people need to have. Let me again share a story with you from Mahabharata. During the Battle of Kurukshetra, we all know that Arjun, just before the start of the battle, Arjun said that, no, Lord Krishna, I will not be able to fight against my own relatives. You're asking me to fight against my brothers, my uncles, my gurus. I will not be able to do that because I am not able to tame my mind. Right? I can control the winds with the power of my arrows, but I am not able to control my own mind. So I will not be able to do that. Right? So how can I control my mind? So Lord Krishna said that yes, you can do that through practice. By focus, you can control your mind, right? So we also need to make sure that we have a very, very positive attitude. Let me share another story with you. So there was once a family which was living in a multi-storied building, and they had another family which came in absolutely, in a flat opposite to their building. So there were two buildings which were absolutely juxtaposed to each other. And the family living in this particular building could see through the windows to who were living across the building, right? Because both the buildings were juxtaposed to each other. So when the new family came, the next day they washed their clothes. So this particular lady said, she addressed to her husband that look at them, they have not, their clothes are smudgy. Probably they don't know how to wash clothes. Next day again, the same thing happened. So next day again, this lady told her husband that, see, probably these people do not know how to wash clothes. Third day, the same thing happened. Fourth day, she addressed her husband and said that, look, today their clothes are immaculately clean. Probably they seem to have got inspired by us and they have learned how to wash clothes properly. You know what the husband replied? He said, actually, I have cleaned the window glasses, right? I've cleaned the panes of window panes of our house. Now, where was the problem? The problem was very much within their house, with them, right? So they could not, their windows were not clean. And that is why they felt that the neighbors weren't washing their clothes properly. And this happens with us many a times. Many a times the problems lie within us, but we are not able to, look within us and see those problems. There's a couplet also, which I will share with you. उम्र भर में ये भूल करता रहा, उम्र भर में ये भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी, आईना साफ करता रहा. Right? So we need to focus on our attitude. If our attitude is positive, everything is positive. Now I want to spend some time on this. What do I mean by positive attitude? So there could be two kinds of mindsets. One is a growing mindset. The other one is a fixed mindset, right? A person with fixed mindset may say, I cannot do this. This is absolutely beyond my capability. I cannot do it. I am like this only, right? This is what I can do. This is what I cannot do. That's a person with a fixed mindset. But a person with a growing mindset or growth mindset would always look at abundant possibilities. For that person, impossible word does not exist. That person says, let me give it a try. Let me try. I may fail, but then I'll bounce back. That's positive attitude. And that is absolutely very, very important. Right? So attitude is very, very critical. We will spend some more time on attitude. Again, just look at this picture. So disclaimer here, I don't own the copyrights of certain pictures or graphics that I'll be sharing with you. The copyrights is with the respective person. I have just got it from the social media. So happiness is just a state of mind. Now, what does it mean? We need to be absolutely enthusiastic and happy. That's very, very important, right? So the choice is absolutely ours. We can be upset or we can be happy, right? So person with positive attitude will be enthusiastic. Person with positive mindset will be cheerful. He would be looking at things from a positive perspective, right? Things may not be going right for that person, but then that person would always say, well, let me see what I can do with these challenges. Just look at the current situation. Now, absolutely, this situation is not within our control. And that is what will happen all our lives. There would be situations which would be beyond our control. We may not be able to control the destiny, but what we can definitely do is manage ourselves to be able to face those challenges, right? So we need to be happy. We need to be constantly making efforts to be able to improve. And that is very important. So look at this picture. The boy who's standing first, who stood first, he's upset. But the boy who stood third, he's absolutely ecstatic. He's happy. He's making most of whatever, the situation is. And that is absolutely very, very critical. So it's our attitude which will determine that, right? Again, very important quotation. We all know about it. So ex-president, late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said, the dream is not what we see when we are asleep. Dream is what does not let us sleep. And that's the passion. That's a determination. That's a tenacity, zeal, enthusiasm, which we all need to have, right? And that's very, very critical, because remember, attitude is like the strong foundation of a building. For any building, a very strong foundation is very important. So if our attitude is positive, well, success is definitely guaranteed. And that's very important, right? So whatever we determine, whatever we set our eyes on, it is critical that we really want to chase that dream. We really want to focus that dream. And that's absolutely important. Again, very important thing, we need to take responsibility. Now, responsibility is never given. Responsibility is always taken. I have heard many people say that please give me some responsibility. Right? I will do it. I will do this task, but somebody needs to make me become responsible for it. And that's not correct. Responsibility can never be given. Responsibility is always taken. Because if you look at the word responsibility, let me just write it here. That itself means, it's a combination of two words, response plus ability, right? The ability to respond, right? So the ability to respond is what it is. So responsibility is always taken. It is never given. So we need to have this conviction. We need to have this desire, determination to be able to do something, right? So whether it is your college, whether it is your future, you will have to take the responsibility of, taking certain actions, and that is what will determine our future. Very important. Again, very important thing, gratitude. That's a very important part of, positive attitude. We need to have gratitude, a feeling of thankfulness towards the Almighty, towards our parents, towards our teachers, towards our countrymen, towards everyone in the society. And that's very important. We need to really thank people for whatever they have done for us. It's not important, how big somebody's contribution is, but we need to value it. We need to have this belief that we have to have gratitude for others, and that's a very, very important thing to have in terms of the mindset, in terms of our attitude. Because remember, what we are talking about is having a very positive attitude towards everything, right? How we look at life, how we view life, and that's absolutely very, very important. Being grateful to others. Okay, let's now talk about something very important. Now, you would have seen that there are not many successful batsmen. So there are limited number of successful batsmen. There are limited number of very successful bowlers. There are very limited number of successful business leaders. So why is it that success comes only to very few people? Or rather, I would say, why is it that success is chosen by only few people, right? Now, there was this gentleman by the name Mr. Albert Ian Gray. So he wanted to find this out. So he did a research, and he wrote, he captured his findings in the form of a book, right? In the form of an essay, actually. And this essay was called Common Denominator of Success. You know what he found? He found out that people who become successful or who want to become successful, they make sure that they start loving those things that naturally do not excite them. So they love those things which mediocres don't like doing. Let me give an example to you. Look at Virat Kohli, right? He loves fitness. He loves spending 5 hours, 6 hours every day on the field. He loves spending 3 hours, 4 hours every day in the gym, right? Others may say that why to spend so much of time, in the gym? Why should I waste my time? Let me relax. Let me, take life little easy. I'm captain of the team. I am known to be the best batsman. But no, he loves doing those things which mediocre may not like doing. Same is the case with a particular student who really wants to excel in his life. When I'm saying his, it means his and her both, right? So what would that student be doing? That student would be really focusing on knowledge, trying to improve his or her attitude by reading books, by being in the company of positive-minded people, right? By focusing on skills, by instilling more and more skills, and by having better habits, right? So again, another example, someone who wants to become fit would definitely not want to focus on fast food, right? He would be having a disciplined life and preference for exercise, whereas somebody who doesn't want to do that would take it easy. That person would wake up at maybe quite late in the morning, and then relax, eat all those junk food items, right? Because naturally that would be quite pleasurable. So the choice is absolutely ours, whether we want to take pleasure in whatever we like doing, or we want to take pleasure in achieving our goals. People like Virat Kohli and so many others, for them, their goal is most important, right? So they focus on their goals. Let me give another example to you. How is steel made? Steel is made, by putting it in a furnace with hundred of thousands degrees, right? And then only steel gets made. Which means if we want to become successful, we will get out of our comfort zones. We will have to take challenges. I have seen many people who want to take life in a very easy manner, who say, I like doing this only, so let me focus on this, right? But if we want to achieve something, we will have to shun what naturally comes to us. We will have to start doing those things which we may not like doing naturally. Another example, I'm sure you would have seen the movie Dangal. In the movie Dangal, the coach, Mr. Mahavir Phogat, he makes his daughters really stretch themselves. He makes them stop watching TV. He makes them get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, jog around the park, and the daughters resist it, right? So much so that, as shown in the movie, the daughters accuse the father of being a Hanikarak Bapu, right? Now, why does the coach do that? Because the coach knows it very well that if we have to achieve our goals, we will have to shun those things. We will have to sacrifice those things, those pleasures which come naturally to us, right? We will have to resist the temptation, because if we keep focusing on what comes naturally to us, then we will not be able to achieve our goals. So that's what is absolutely very, very important. Let's now talk about skills, right? And obviously, we are going to be learning about soft skills today. So let's learn about what is the difference between hard skills and soft skills, because obviously that's the main topic that we have today. So we have hard skills and we have soft skills. What's the difference? So in today's world, the important hard skills and soft skills which are there, especially in the contemporary world. When we talk about hard skills, so you have artificial intelligence and machine learning. So what is hard skill? Hard skill means certain qualifications, certain abilities which may give you an edge for being able to do certain things. Let me again share a story with you here, and this is quite an interesting one. So there was once a doctor, a neurosurgeon. So he was a neurosurgeon. So his car broke down, right? So he went to a workshop. Now, when he went to his workshop, when he took his car to a workshop, the technician, the mechanic, he started working on the car. So there was something wrong in the engine of the car. So he told this guy that I'll have to open the engine and repair the car. So doctor said, okay. So doctor was waiting there itself. Now, while he was opening the engine, he told the doctor, he said, look, doctor, I am a technician and I open the engine up. You are also a surgeon. You are a surgeon. In a way, you are also a technician, but you open the brain up, right? But the irony is this, that I get paid much lesser than what you get paid. You get paid many more times than what I do. And that's the irony, because actually you are also doing what I am doing. Now, you know what the doctor replied, the neurosurgeon? He said, try doing with the engine what you are doing when the engine is running, because that is what I do. So brain surgeon would be working on the brain, works on the brain, obviously, and the brain is supposed to keep working, right? The brain cannot be put to sleep, because that would mean that a person will die. But when a person, when the technician is opening the engine up, obviously the engine, the ignition is not on, the engine is not working, correct? Now, at the end of the day, whether it is a neurosurgeon or whether it is a technician, they have hard skills. So what are the other hard skills? Artificial intelligence and machine learning, very important in today's world. Blockchain technology, cloud computing. We are talking about the contemporary world. Business analytics, very important hard skill. Foreign languages, right? And user experience, UX. It could be VFX also. It could be various other, website development. Various other hard skills are there. Now, what do we mean by soft skills? Now, remember we spoke about cash concept. How do we apply this toolbox? How do we apply our knowledge, our skills, our attitude, as well as our habits in terms of working? How do we work? That is what soft skill is about. How do we apply our learnings, right? Now, let's learn more about it. So in today's world, time management is very, very critical. Let us accept it. Each of us have 24 hours in a day. Each of us have 86,400 seconds in a day, right? And not only us, every great person has had this kind of resource itself. Now, how do we utilize that time that we have is what is the most important thing. How do we manage it properly? Now, the fact of the matter is, although we use the terminology time management, can you actually stop the clock? Can you manage the clock? No, you can't. We have to manage ourselves, right? So it's about self-management, right? How do we manage ourselves with the time? So that is a very, very important soft skill. Another is teamwork. In today's world, we may be excelling individually, but that does not matter. Companies or clients, they would want people who can work within teams. Again, talking about the story of Rohan, probably Rohan had a great caliber individually, but maybe he was an introvert person, sorry. Maybe he could not work within teams, and that is why he may not have been selected, because today what employers require is teamwork, very important skill. They want people who can work with diverse set of individuals, right? And that's a very, very important soft skill, which is very critical soft skill today. Another is problem solving approach. That's very important, right? So we should be able to have again, creativity, critical thinking is something which is important. So we should be able to observe, we should be able to analyze, we need to be able to relate to things and try and solve problems. Again, very important thing is, for example, creativity, right? Again, very important soft skill is people management. How do we manage others? Because at the end of the day, that I have seen a lot of people who have been able to do very well when it comes to managing their own performance, but they may not have been able to manage the teams properly. They may not be manage the individuals properly. And in cricket also, I don't want to take names, but I am sure you would have seen a lot of players who were very good individual players, but they may not have been successful captains, right? Managing team is a very important skill. Getting work done from people, being able to motivate people, being able to influence people, being able to drive people to be able to make them put in their best is a very important skill. Again, persuasive skills. How do we influence people? How do we convince people? Right? To be able to persuade others is a very important skill. Now, another one is communication skills. So I have seen a lot of people who can speak very well, but they may not have been good listeners. So listening is also part of communication skills. Again, here, as we will learn little later, body language is again very important, right? So it's also a very important part of communication skills. Probably Rohan did not have good communication skills, right? So it could be various set of skills, which are required more than others. But broadly speaking, these are the important set of soft skills which are really critical in today's world, in the contemporary world. Especially, going forward, it is quite possible because of this, COVID challenge. Many business models may change. Probably work from home may become a new normal in many jobs, right? So there are certain skills which would be very, very critical uh, uh, in case of certain jobs. Now, when we talk about these soft skills, let me again share with you something very interesting, because I've been on the other side of the table for a very long time, wherein I was, in roles, I was handling large teams and I was recruiting people. Many times, for example, candidates prepare themselves on questions such as, what are your top 5 strengths, right? So many of the participants, they would maybe prepare themselves on these answers. But just keep in mind that today's interviews are competency based interviews. Let me give an example to you. So let's say you say that teamwork is one of my strengths, right? Now, it is quite possible that the interviewer may also ask, okay, so Ravinder, you are saying that teamwork is one of your strengths. Uh, can you share an incident with me wherein, this particular strength of yours really supported you get the task done from your team? Right? So you will have to actually think about an incident. Now, many times, if the candidate uh, did not have this skill and is just trying to, give wrong information, then the candidate will get stuck, right? So remember, we need to be very, very honest when it comes to interviews, because the interviewers, they have very rich experience, and they can make out from the body language, they can make out from the voice modulation, they can make out from the conviction whether the candidate is speaking the truth or not, right? So remember, we need to practice on all these skills, and for us to be able to do well. So it's not just being aware about certain set of skills, but also instilling those skills within us through practice. That is absolutely very, very critical. Habits. So the last of cash, KASH, is habits. Right? Now, ultimately, 95% of what we do is because of our habits, right? As said by Aristotle. So our habits would really, make us do certain things. For example, if somebody is punctual, that is because the person has a habit of being punctual, right? Time management is a skill as well as a habit also, right? Similarly, someone has a very good habit of reading good books. Having the company of positive minded people is also a good habit, right? Again, let me share a story with you. So once, a person, he was a washerman, he had a laundry, and he was using donkeys to ferry the clothes from one place to another one, right? So once a person came to his village to sell donkeys. So this washerman required donkeys, so he bought 3 donkeys from that, a vendor who was selling donkeys, right? Now, the moment he bought those donkeys, one of the donkeys, he just went and sat down with one of the laziest donkeys which he already had with him, right? So this new donkey, he straight away went and sat besides a lazy donkey. And immediately this washerman, what he did was that he took that donkey and started going after the vendor. And he started yelling at him and said, "I don't want this donkey, please take him back." Now the washerman was absolutely, the vendor was absolutely amazed. He said, "What happened? You yourself, selected this three donkeys, and he was one of them." He said, "No, no, no. This donkey has a, bad attitude." He said, "How can you make out the attitude in 5 minutes?" He said, "Because he chose a wrong company, right? So he chose to be with this lazy donkey, so definitely he is also going to become like him, like the donkey, right? So it's a very good habit. What kind of company do we choose? Do we choose company of people who are positive in their attitude, or do we choose the company of people who are lazy, lethargic, who are always complaining, who are blaming, their parents, blaming the government, blaming Almighty, right? There are many people who keep blaming Almighty also. That why did you make me get born in this house? Why did you make me get born in the house of a very rich person, etc., etc. Right? So habits are very important. So we need to always try and instill good habits within us. Right? So good habits are hard to form, very difficult to form, but easy to live with. Bad habits are easy to form, they come free of cost, right? Bad habits are easy to form, but very difficult to live with. So the choice is ours, whether we improve on our habits or we continue with it, right? For example, another example, I am seeing today that many people, they sleep very late in the evening, very late in the night. So they will keep spending time on social media, right? Maybe watching Netflix, etc., etc., and then again they'll wake up late in the morning. Correct? So again, that may not be a good habit, right? Because at the end of the day, how do we manage our time is our choice. So we need to have good habits. Again, reading books is a very good habit, but then remember, reading book may not be pleasurable. Watching Netflix will be, right? So if you have to read a book, we will have to resist the temptation of falling asleep, because the moment you start reading a book, naturally you will want to sleep. But if we want to become successful, we will have to get rid of this urge of closing the book and falling asleep. I'm sorry. Again, very important quality is having empathy. That's again. Just 1 minute, please. Just 1 minute, please. So empathy is looking from others' perspective. I should not be doing to someone which I wouldn't want to be done to me. Right? And that's absolutely critical. We need to look from the eyes of the other person, from the eyes and heart of the other person. And that's very critical. So if we want to really make sure that we improve our customer service, we need to think from the perspective of our customer, whom we are serving, right? And not do anything which the person wouldn't like, right? Another example. So when we drive on the roads, right? The moment we see, that somebody has got stuck at the traffic light has turned green. but this person hasn't been able to start his car. What people start doing is that they start honking. Now, I wouldn't want somebody to keep honking at me, would I? No, I wouldn't. Then I should not be honking at others, right? I should not be talking rudely to someone, because I wouldn't want to be spoken rudely, right? So what I don't want to be done to me, I should not be doing to others. That is what empathy is all about. How can we remember empathy? Very simple way. So what was Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan? वैष्णव जनते तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे, right? पीड़ पराई जाने रे, someone who understands the pain of other person, someone who is able to view things from other person's perspective is a Vaishnav Jan, right? So that is what empathy is all about. It's a very important part of quality which we need to have. Okay? So the toolbox that we spoke about: knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. So this is the determinant of our success, right? Whether we talk about soft skills or whether we talk about competencies, it flows from this toolbox itself. We need to introspect ourselves, and we need to make sure that we keep focusing on these attributes. Now, how can we apply the cash box? So knowledge and skills, they could be ingrained, they could be instilled through training programs, right? Through learning and development, through constantly, relearning and unlearning and relearning. But when we talk about attitude and habits, we would be doing a lot of good to ourselves if we were to, get mentoring. You could have your teachers, your professors mentoring you, coaching you, or you could also, look for some external coach, some professional coach. Today, every sportsman has a coach, right? Roger Federer has a coach, Djokovic has a coach, Usain Bolt has a coach. I mean, these coaches do not train them on how to run or how to, serve the ball or hit a winner. They work on their mental conditioning. They make sure that they make them become mentally stronger, right? So for us to be able to become mentally stronger, we need to choose a mentor. It could be our parent, it could be, someone within your peer group itself, or it could be your teachers, your professors, right? But then that's important. Let's now talk about personality. So what do we mean by personality? So personality again is a set of characteristics or qualities of a person, right? So it is about how does a person get seen or viewed or perceived as, right? How do we view others? So over a period of time, how would others consider us to be? So that is exactly what our personality would be like. The impact that we make to others. What kind of impact? I'm sure you would have seen a lot of people, and many of the young leaders in their colleges also would be very, very popular. The moment you come to college or within your class or within your group, others they uh, just move towards you and they start talking to you, right? And they feel very comfortable with you and they are very happy. So you are center of attraction, so to say. Definitely it shows that you've got a very good personality, right? So it's not that it is something which is natural. This is again something which we'll have to work on, right? Now, how can we make a better impact with others? So when we say personality, the set of competencies, knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits, we need to make sure that we keep improving on our knowledge. We have a very positive attitude. We keep instilling new skills in us, and we always focus on good habits, right? That's very important. Now, how can we make an impact? So obviously we can feel it, whether we are able to make a good impact in front of others or not. Obviously, when we are others, people would love our company. They would want to spend time with us. They may share their concerns with us. We will make friends very easily, right? So we can easily make out that whether we can make an impact or not. Let's look at an example. So practically speaking, when we talk about making an example, it means confidence, competencies, and credibility. Right? We have learned about competence. So competencies are knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. Right? Set of these four attributes. Right? And plus confidence, assertiveness, how confident you are, very important. And then credibility. Now, credibility doesn't get made overnight. Credibility gets created over a period of time. For example, I make a promise to someone, right, that I will do this task by day after tomorrow, and I do it by day after tomorrow, right? Over a period of time, I'll be establishing a credibility. My credibility will be that this person honors his word, right? So that is what will create credibility. So impact, how can you make impact? Confidence, competencies, plus credibility, right? Let's take an example. Now, between these two pictures, if I were to ask you, who seems to be making a better impact? I am sure you will say this picture of a lady, right? She seems to be making a better impact. Why? So let us analyze it. Look at her body language. A, she is much better dressed as compared to this person. He is shabbily dressed, right? Look at her body language. She is smiling. Her eye contact is absolutely, she is looking into the eyes, right? This person is not looking into the eyes. He's sitting backwards. So his body language is not proper. There is no smile on his face, right? Again, if you look at it, she's making a positive hand movements in a positive manner, right? She's using her hands effectively. But this guy, this gentleman, has his hands towards the back, right? So body language is again very important. Maybe when Rohan was appearing for interviews, maybe his body language wasn't proper, right? So this is also part of communication skills, because remember, the maximum impact that we make when we are communicating is non-verbally, right? So smile, eye contact, absolutely, subtle proper usage of hands, etc., is very, very critical. So there are a lot of aspects. There are gestures, there are postures, and again, proper usage of eyes, smile, etc. This is very, very important thing. Right? Let's now talk about, we discussed about confidence. So this is a scale. Now this is a scale of, you could say, assertiveness. So at the center you have assertiveness, and on extreme end you have aggression, right? And on this extreme end is non-assertive. Now what does it mean? Assertiveness means respecting others' rights also, and being aware about your own rights also. In case you are not able to get answer to a question, you very assertively say that please help me understand this, I'm not able to understand this, right? So this person will not keep quiet. Similarly, let's say one particular friend has said something to the other friend which I did not like. If I'm an assertive person, I will give feedback to this person. And I will tell him that, see, you are a friend of mine, but what you did that day or what you did today, I didn't like it. I did not feel good, and I don't expect this from you because I am assertive person, right? So I would respect your rights also, but I would also be aware about my rights. So that's what we all ought to be: assertive, confident, right? Aggression means this person is only thinking about himself. He does not consider about others' rights. He is only thinking about his rights. He is only wanting to gain himself at the cost of others. So his thought process would be, a person who's aggressive, his thought process is, I want to win. I don't care whether other person wins or not. Right? So he is only wanting to protect his rights. He doesn't care a damn about others' rights. Okay? Let me give an example to you. I am sure you would have seen, especially in, at the younger age, when we were all kids, we may have thrown tantrums at home. We may have said, I will not eat if you don't cook this one, right? And I tell my mother, okay, if you don't do this, I will not come out, right? I will not go with you to the market because you've not done this. That's aggression. I'm only thinking about myself. I'm not concerned about others. Okay? Non-assertiveness means this person ignores self. So he is not, he is not having the, I would say, the inclination, or he doesn't have the confidence to be able to protect his own rights. And he allows himself to get tormented by others. Another example, let's say if I were a non-assertive person and you are bullying me, right? I would not be able to say anything. So I might go home and I might cry, I might close the door, I might switch off the lights and lie on the bed and keep crying, right? But when my parents ask me, I will not be able to say anything. And that shows that I am a non-assertive person, right? Others may take advantage of me in this situation. Right? So being assertive is very, very critical. Neither should we try to win at the cost of others, nor we should allow others to win at our cost. Right? So this is an okay choral, very important thing here. So if you see, this is the ideal situation to be in. I am okay, you are okay, means handshake. You win, I win. Bond. Right? You also win, I should also win. Right? This one means I am a non-assertive person. I am allowing you to win at my cost. Right? I am saying I am not okay, you are okay. Right? So, like for example, I might say, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ जी, जैसा आप चाहो, आप बड़े लोग हो, मैं छोटा हूँ, types. Right? This one is a situation wherein I am aggressive and I am trying to win at your cost. Right? So I say, whether you win or not, I don't care. I want to win. Come what may, I will do this way. I don't care about you. Right? So this person is aggressive. And here is a situation wherein the person says, okay, if I have not won, if I cannot win, I will make sure I will not let you win also. Right? So that's apathy. So you cannot win. I cannot win. So I will make sure you also don't win. Right? So this is the ideal situation to be in. Assertive. We need to build relationships which are focused on assertive relationships, win-win relationships. I should also win. You should also win. Let's win together. That one. Right? Okay. Our thoughts will lead to feelings, and feelings lead to actions. Right? So ultimately, whatever action we take actually is the result of thoughts which we have in our minds, because our thoughts result in feelings and our feelings result in actions. Now just imagine, if we have negative thoughts in our mind, we will have negative feelings, and if we have negative feelings, it will result in negative actions. But if we have positive thoughts, it will lead to positive feelings, and positive feelings will lead to positive actions, right? So we need to have positive thoughts in our mind. Now, how can we have positive thoughts in our mind? Self-belief. We need to be confident, right? We need to have a goal. We need to have a focus. We need to have a vision for ourselves about our future. Positive attitude, self-confidence, right? Constant learning, unlearning, learning, and relearning. Very important. Tenacity, never giving up. Having this belief that let me keep working. Maybe I have not succeeded this time. Let me try again. Let me try again. Let me try again. And that's the tenacity which is very critical. Never say die attitude, right? So ultimately, it's all about managing ourselves. How we manage ourselves is critical. Right? Now, we said that positive thoughts will lead to positive feelings, and positive feelings will lead to positive actions. How can we have positive thoughts in our mind? By self-visualization. So, for example, if you have certain goals, every morning, every evening, we need to go, to the washroom, and in front of mirror, we can do self-visualization. We can think about ourselves in the future, that I am achieving whatever I had designed for myself. I thought about myself, and we can also do self-affirmation. So we can say, I will definitely be able to do this. I will definitely be able to achieve this task. No force on Mother Earth can stop me. I am absolutely confident about my abilities. I am absolutely working towards my abilities. I am absolutely focusing on those things which I need to improve upon. And I am gaining confidence, right? So these kind of self-affirmation will also help. So self-visualization means thinking about what do we want to achieve, where do we want to reach, right? Because at the end of the day, when we visualize, we are giving a very positive message to the mother nature. And that is what you would have heard of law of attraction also. So when we have positive feelings, we'll be able to attract positive thoughts, right? So this is what personality development is all about. We can develop our personality through self-introspection, right? Thinking about ourselves, really finding out where are the areas of improvement, because we cannot lie to ourselves. We need to work on those. Self-introspection, taking feedback. We need to take feedback from others. So if a friend or any teacher is giving us feedback, we need to value it, because they are our well-wishers who are giving us our feedback, giving feedback to us. And we need to work on that feedback. Very important. Keep innovating. Keep trying out new things. That's very important, right? So that's it. I am through. I'll be happy to take any questions that we may have, please. Sir, I'll be happy to take questions, please. Saswat?
Ravindra sir, can you stop sharing your screen so that we can put our screen over there?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Shashwat, question and answers.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I will start with the question session, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have one question from Ms. Hemangi Thakkar of TY BCom.
All right.
Her question is, what type of questions are asked in an interview and how should we answer that?
All right. So again, it depends upon the particular role that you have applied for. It depends upon the kind of experience which you have. But let's say you are applying for a job for the first time. Now, let's look at it from the perspective of the employer. Now, why should the employer be selecting you? Right? Now, when you are applying for a job for the first time, remember, you don't have experience. You would have been applying for the first time. You may not have experience. Now, the employer is wanting to make sure that they are selecting a person who's got competencies, so that they don't have to spend time and money training a person. If the employers can recruit someone who's got the competency they are looking for without having to train the person, then the company will gain. So the questions could pertain to making sure that they are selecting the right candidate. So it could pertain to your competencies which you have mentioned about in your CV. It could pertain to your experience. It could pertain to the internship which you have done. It could pertain to your hobbies. The employer would want to make sure that they are selecting the best particular candidate, best possible candidate, right? So it could be, there is no set of, there can't be any specific thing. They are only wanting to make sure that they are selecting the best possible person. But you can definitely be sure of the fact that whatever you are talking about, many times the questions would come from that itself. Let me give another example to you. So let's say you are mentioning about one of your strengths being integrity, right? You're very honest, you're very transparent. Now the interviewer may want to confirm that you are actually very honest, right? So they may want to ask you a question about it. Please keep in mind that in today's interviews, there are body language experts as well in the panel. So they would also be assessing you in terms of what you are saying and whether that is matching in terms of your body language or not, right? So we need to be very clear of what we are saying. And if you don't know an answer, it's always good to say that I don't know it. I don't know whether I've been able to answer this question to the lady's satisfaction or not, but then since it was a general question, I've attempted to give an answer that way.
Okay, sir. Yeah, there is one more question, sir, from Mr. Rajdeep Desai from MCOM.
Right.
His question is, how to keep oneself motivated when pursuing difficult professional courses like CA, CS, etc. Because studying for long hours and with persistent determination is a big challenge, especially when exam is far.
Very good question. Fantastic.
Shall I repeat?
No, I have understood. Very good question, young man. See, there are two things. One is that there would be certain challenges which would pertain to a course itself. For example, chartered accountancy. We know that so many young boys and girls, they appear, but the pass percentage is only limited. But the fact of the matter is that what is very important is self-motivation. We need to keep motivating ourselves. And let me give a very simple analogy to that. When we clean our shoes in the morning, when we polish our shoes, right? So what we do is we first brush the dust off, right? We brush the dust off the shoe. Then we apply a little bit of wax, right? We apply only a little bit of wax, and then we brush it vigorously to bring the shine. Now that little bit of wax is similar to external motivation. It could be external motivation from our parents, from our family members, from our friends, from our teachers, right? Only little bit of external motivation. but then rigorous brushing, that is similar to self-motivation. We need to have this self-belief that fine, I need to work very hard. It is quite possible that I may not be able to succeed once, but I need to keep focusing on my goal, right? And that is what is the most critical thing. So we need to have that perseverance. Now that's again a part of attitude. Because let's accept it. In the real world, there is no manual that things first this will be happening, then that will be happening, then something else will be happening. We might come across different situations. There would be many factors which may be beyond our control. We may not be able to control those factors. Those may be uncontrollable. But definitely our response, how we handle those situations is within our control. And that is something which is important. How do we respond in a particular situation would actually determine our career. So most important thing is self-motivation. And then we also need to keep introspecting ourselves, and wherever the area of improvement is, we need to work on that. But ultimately, one has to have this belief that I can achieve what I want to achieve, and I will definitely make sure that I keep putting in that effort.
Yes, sir. Sir, third question from Mr. Chinmay Vadnere, TYBMS. His question is, sir, what's better answer for the question asked in interview? Describe yourself.
There cannot be a standard answer to anything because each person is different. Each of us is different, right? I strongly believe that interviewers love ingenuity. They love openness, and cliched answers, prepared answers. They can immediately make out that this person is prepared. Now, let me give an example to you. Now, in your CV, you would have mentioned career objective, right? Then your CV, your resume itself may have mentioned about certain attributes that you have. You may have had certain achievements in your life. So when you talk about description, you may mention about that. You may mention about what's your vision in life. You may mention about how are you approaching that particular vision, what you are doing. In case you have had certain failures on something, you may mention about it, that I was not able to do that, but instead of feeling upset about it, I have learned a lot from it, because the fact of the matter is we do learn much more from our failures than what we learn from the successes that we may have had, right? So if we are absolutely honest about it, it would really help us. So my suggestion to you is be absolutely honest, and try to be as original as we can be, because each of us has got some amazing capabilities. The Almighty has given a huge set of strengths to all of us. Let's utilize those strengths, and let's be absolutely creative and honest. So that's what I strongly believe in. And interviewers, they would, if they feel that someone is being very honest, and whatever that person is talking about, that person actually is like that, they would love it. But if I'm trying to present myself in a different manner than what actually I am, interviewers will definitely get to know about it, and that may not be helping me going forward.
Yes, sir. Now, question number 4, sir.
Yeah.
The sender is anonymous. How to deal with multiple failures and convince parents on our thoughts in choosing career?
Okay, that's a very natural question, and I'm also a parent, so I can understand that. The fact of the matter is that let's accept it. It's quite possible that there may be a difference in the thought process. The parents' vision about us may be different, but maybe our goal may be absolutely different. Uh, One thing is very important, and unfortunately, in today's world, that has become a challenge because we have such a mechanical life. Uh, is that there has to be open channel of communication, very importantly. So the parents need to have very open discussion with the parents and understand with the children, and understand as to where does the interest area of the children lie, just like we saw in the movie Three Idiots, wherein that boy Farhan wanted to become a photographer, but his father was insisting that he should become an engineer, right? So the parents need to understand that, and if the parents are not understanding, the child, the student, the young, boy or girl needs to be able to discuss it with the parents, that this is what I need to, this is where my interest lies. And failure is something that one should not be worried about. In fact, I say that failure is like Bhagwan ka prasad, right? So when we fail, actually, it's like Almighty is giving us a prasad. Almighty is telling us that I am giving you a test. Let me see how do you handle it. So when we face that particular when we give that test, Almighty would become very happy. So we need to take that test with the utmost abilities that we have, with full confidence, with full gusto, and that is something which will definitely be helping us, because let's accept it, uh, none of us is perfect, right? While in movies they show that the actor, the hero can do everything, in the real life none of us is like that. I mean, just look at it, all these Spider-Mans and Supermans and Iron Man and all these people are able to do nothing in US today, right? US is struggling, there are so many people dying, and all these superhuman beings are able to do nothing. In real life we will have failures. We should not feel upset by failures. We should introspect, find out about our area of improvement, work on it. That is what we can do, right? So again, going back to mythology again, Kadmanne Vadikaraste Mafileshu Kadachana, our job is to focus on our duty, what we can do. And that is what we need to do with our full abilities. Any more questions, Saswat?
Yeah, yes, sir. Last question. Question
Yeah.
number 5 by Prishita Birthday of TYBBI. Her question is how to deal with anxiety and nervousness.
Okay, how to deal with anxiety and nervousness? I would strongly suggest that we need to have a mentor. It could be our parents, it could be our brother, sister, it could be our friends. And whenever we feel anxious about something, whenever we are feeling upset about something, we shouldn't keep it within ourselves. We need to discuss it with others, because it would help us vent out our anxiety, get a direction, and that's the best thing to do, because the moment we keep things within us, then this pent up anxiety or frustration can be disastrous for us. So it's always good to have friends, good friends, people who have a positive point of view, positive thought process, uh, and share it with them. uh, Best is to have to share it with the parents, but let's say you can also discuss it with someone. That's one thing which we can do. Secondly, the other part is that try to look at things from other perspective also. For example, I am absolutely convinced, let's take an example, I am convinced that the other person, we are talking about someone, it could be a friend, it could be parent, for example, and I am upset about something. Now I might feel that my parent is not supportive, or my friend is not supportive, and I'm upset, and that is what is giving me anxiety. The other point of view is that let me put myself in the situation of the other person, and think from that person's perspective. So why is my parent saying so? If I were in my parents' place, what would have I done? Right? Or if I were in my friend's place, what would have I done? And then trying to think from that perspective, maybe, when we think from an empathy perspective, when we empathize with the other person, it may give us altogether a different perspective. Maybe we can have a different thought process, and that will help us to soothe our nerves and maybe to be able to feel better.
Yes, sir. So that's all we have for the question and answer session. Thank you, sir, for answering the questions.
My
Now,
pleasure. Thank you.
yes. Now we
So
move
just,
to the. Yes,
I
sir.
just want to tell everyone that you guys are the future of our country. All the young leaders who are watching this particular program, you guys are the future, and India is definitely. It's a matter of pride for us that 60% of our population comprises of people who are below the age of 30 today, and this generation Z, I think most of you who would be attending this particular program would be below the age of 20, 20, 20, 22, 23. So definitely our future is in safe hands. And on behalf of the countrymen, I just want to wish you all the best from my side, and on behalf of everybody in the country, I wish you all the best. And looking forward to seeing India prosper uh, with you guys leading the country. Thank you.
Yeah.
Namaskar.
Sir, now I will propose the formal vote of thanks.
All right. Thank you.
On behalf of Sydenham College of Commerce and Economics and organizing committee, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to today's resource person, Mr. Ravinder Singh Chawla, sir, for a nice lecture which you gave to our final year students, where you mentioned about cash and positivity in your life. I'm sure, sir, all the students have upgraded their soft skills and personality. They will make use of those skills in their professional life. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time today.
My pleasure.
I
Thank
thank
you.
our college principal, Dr. Sangeeta Pakde Madam, for her guidance and support. I thank IQAC coordinator and head of Commerce Department, Dr. Khushpat Jain, for his endeavor and support. I thank all the faculty members of Sydenham College for playing an important role in various committees like registration, feedback, distribution of certificates, technical team, planning and coordination team, publicity and report preparation team, accounts and finance. I thank our student volunteers and all student participants of final year for listening today's session with great enthusiasm. Students are requested to fill the feedback form compulsorily, without which they will not be issued the certificate. I also request all of you to please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All of you stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.